Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone. Today's topic will talk about a social framework. So it is really important in understanding the culture according with how we live in a social framework. So here I have high contact and low contact culture. What is high contact and what is low contact? So we'll talk about those two ideas in this section. Okay, here we have the high contact, and on the other hand we have the low contact cultures. So what is actually social framework? We live in this world to socialize, right? We live among the others, among other people, right? So we need to do socialization, right? And social framework is the underlying structure that connects and supports the various members and parts of a community or human organization. So here we need to connect, we need to support with the various member, within the various member and parts of a community or a part of organization. Regarding with the first point is about the high contact culture. So the high contact cultures emphasize the contact in which a communication takes place. I will repeat again. High contact culture emphasize the contact in which a communication takes place. They pay a great deal of attention to implicit, implicit, right? It's a kind of non-verbal messages, body language, facial expression, gesture, touching, eye contact, and so on and so forth. So, what cultures belong to the high contact? Here I have the examples as the model of Asian culture, then Arabian culture, then Mediterranean culture. So those are, falling into the high contact. Okay. Then, if we talk about the United States, Northerners and Midwesterners tend to use more literal and explicit communication, and South tend to be less explicit and direct. So, talking about the low contact culture, as we know here, information is communicated primarily through language, and rules are explicitly spelled out. Okay, so all information is communicated primarily through language. And low contact cultures place less emphasis on the context of a communication, such as implied meaning or non-verbal messages. Here we have the examples. The countries practicing the low contact culture, like American, then German, Swiss, Scandinavian. So they prefer clear description and unambiguous communication, and they are highly specific. They make it specific when they talk to you. Then they do not rely on trust relationship in business communication. So because they like to put everything based on the fact, so they rely on the spoken or the written word. So for the low contact culture, they have the explicit communication rather than implicit. Fine. So next we have a power distance. So what is power distance? The power distance here extends people within a society accept that power is distributed unequally, and power distribution from the perspective of those without the highest degrees of power. Then when we talk about the power distance, so here usually in high contact culture, right, they have the level, right, the level of society, the level of community. Okay, as you know here from the royal family, then from the what is it called, like the family, what we call like the ordinary people, and comparing to the royal family, they have the power here. And also we have here regarding the high power distance and the low power distance. For the high contact culture, they have the high power distance, and for the low contact culture, they have the low power distance. So everything should be equal for low contact culture. Okay, probably men and women are equal. But for the high power distance, they have the level of the community, the level of the society. Like you have, when you address your father, you do not directly address just for the name, but you use Pak, Sir, Mr., Pak D, Mas, Bang, Om. But not for low contact culture. For the low power distance, you just call the name. For example, like I call my uncle or I call my father just for the name. Hello, John, or I call my teacher. Hello, Richard. Even Richard is my teacher, so I make him equal. We have the same level. So that is the concept of the low power distance. Well, regarding with the high contact culture versus a low contact culture, so I will talk to you about here. For the high contact culture, a lot of communication is implicit. Implicit for high contact culture. And for the high contact culture, they emphasize non-verbal communication. Okay, because of implicit, so they use non-verbal communication, right? For example, like when you want to ask for money to your father and your mom, yeah, you do not directly talk and ask for money. I want money now, I need money. But you have the implicit communication. You perform your non-verbal communication so that your father will understand you. Then he will know that you ask for money. That is the implicit communication. Implicit, so you do not directly talk. Okay, so there are several model of non-verbal communication. Like it means that probably you are thinking, or you what we call like winking eyes, or you have, it means that you don't know, or it means that you ask me to keep silent, or you have, or you just want really, or without saying anything, but your non-verbal communication will create the implicit communication. Okay, like here, that means okay, or very, very good job, or you make a promise without saying that, oh, I promise. No, but you just, or this means love in Korea. Okay, so those are the high contact culture. So those from our people from high contact culture, they take decision together or deliberation. They create the harmony, group decision. See here, and they focus on people and relationship rather than tasks. they focus on the relationship. It means that when I work for you, it means that I will maintain my relationship rather than I would like to be professional, completing the job on time, but I'd rather maintain my relationship than doing a professional job. I maintain my relationship to you, to the boss. I focus on the people. I make you fun, probably. I make you happy. Then here what we have to deal with the high contact culture. On the other hand, we have the low contact culture, which is the communication is typically explicit. They straight to the point. They get to the point without giving the implicit communication. They say what they think. Okay, for example, like when I do not like you, then I will say that I don't like you, I hate you, without saying that. Okay, so it means that explicit communication here will be performed by those people from the low contact culture. Then people from low contact culture emphasizes verbal communication. Okay, they would like to talk, they would like to say something rather than just having the non-verbal communication. Okay. Then the other ideas about the low contact culture, they make decision individual. They're responsible for himself or herself, independent, and so on and so forth. And they focus on problem rather than people, or rather than maintain the relationship. Okay, because they work, they prefer to complete the tasks, right, rather than maintain the relationship. That is the concept of the low contact culture. They focus on problem rather than people. Okay, let me play this video for you. This culture has two different orientation: high contact culture, right? Explicit communication. Low contact culture, implicit. Then here what we got from the high contact culture, like in Japanese culture, right? You see that high contact focus on the relationship rather than the task. Characteristic of high contact: relational, collectivist, intuitive, and contemplative. They value the relationship. For the low contact, they have to prefer like individualist. Okay, so then let's discuss about the high contact and low contact culture. I'd like you to give more what we call like criteria or the ideas regarding with the high contact culture and low contact culture. So what are the other things for the high contact culture perform, and what are the other things for the low contact culture usually perform? So you may give and put your opinions based on your experiences based on your experiences in watching movie and having a friends from different countries around the world, and from watching the YouTube video. And also next, give me the examples, the model of high contact culture and low contact culture, right? So first, identify the other characters for high contact and low contact culture. Next, explain what you mean by your statement, and then put the examples of each.